Well, let me just tell you before we start, it appears we will not make it to February 13th or even to February. I made two remarkable discoveries recorded by two prophets, and they're almost silly simple, but we couldn't believe them. I want to pause for emphasis here, because what we're going to cover here is dramatic. I'm not going to tell you when this happens. I don't have to tell you that the second kingdom is 1,000 years and starts at Abib. All I have to do is take you to a place no less plain than Revelation 20, where it will tell you exactly, and maybe about 4 verses too, how long this first kingdom is. So I'm not going to make any pronouncements here, because I don't have to. No assertions, because I don't have to. I found the place that tells us in what appears to me to be impossible to misunderstand. No long list of stuff. Now, I will say this before we look at these. There is a long list of support proof that backs it up, but you don't need any of it. So I'm not going to get into today, we don't have time, I'm not going to get into all of the proof that backs up and underscores what I'm going to give you. I'm going to keep this so simple that it will be impossible to argue with as far as I'm concerned. I've run it by a handful of ministers, haven't had time to really talk to the others. So I'm going to let you decide how long you think the first kingdom is. You know it ends. You know that it ends at Abib. You go to the end of Daniel in Hebrew, and you see it's a times and a half is in the Hebrew, and it's Katzin, it means a half. So I'm just trying to show you when God says that's half the week, you tell me how there's 1 minute more or less than 2,580 days, 43 and 43. So God, now what would be helpful is if we could turn over to Moses, and he said over and over, dozens and scores of times, it's all going to start on Shebat 1. Not March 29th, January 29th. We ought to ask, is it possible 2 months before Abib to Abib's 84 months, 3.5 years, 42 and 42. Is it possible that the Lord Jesus Christ will come on the very same day that Moses bound all Israel who would ever live to this covenant and enacts it? You ought to at least ask that question. You can prove it's Shebat 1 by proving 84 months are between the Abibs, and you got to come 2 months this way to Shebat 1. You do not need Moses to confirm it, because the math in Daniel tells the tale. So we've got about 38 and a half days. But what I'm trying to do is tell you, I'm not giving you a date. The Bible is doing this. In fact, it's up to you, and I'm saying this in my messages to the splinters, it's up to you to see the day approaching, because this could be some other year. Though it tarry, wait for it. Shebat 1 can't tarry. What date can tarry? There has to be some date in front of that tarries, that delays, though it delay. Wait for it, it'll surely come and not tarry. It cannot go past Shebat 1. It's impossible. If it does, see in 2025, 2026, I guess it'd be 2026. It could go past Shebat 1, but there won't be any doctoring anything or trying to see it another way. So we're getting a sneak peek in Daniel in a way that's even beyond what I thought a couple weeks ago when I coined that term. This is a serious sneak peek. You're not left with what Mr. Pack said. I love you all dearly, but shame on you if you do that. What do you think? What do you think?